Chapter 6. Part 2. How God spoke to me. Before I relate to you an incomplete list of the many ways God speaks to his children, I will first share my experience, the instance God first whispered to me about my purpose. It was nearly 8 years ago. I had been in prison for a few months, and I had been praying to know my purpose for twice that long, beginning in county jail. Well, one night I had a long, strange, vivid dream. When I awoke, I immediately wrote down the dream and went back to bed. The next morning, when I was in prayer asking for the interpretation, going over the dream with the Lord piece by piece, the interpretation was revealed about the work I was going to do, one large segment of my purpose. I say one segment because soon after that I received the second portion of my purpose. I just recently moved away from Mormon beliefs and onto a basic understanding of Christianity, and the purpose of this revelation had to do with my future ministry reaching out to Mormons. Shortly after this dream and the interpretation, the Lord spoke to me again while I lay on my bunk praying. He said that before I left prison I would write a handful of books. This was more of a strong impression, not words but discernible nonetheless. A still small voice, as many have come to call it. Just so you know, I was not a writer at the time and I did not have any clue how to compile a book, let alone how to string together a proper sentence. The still small voice impression was saying that the first book I was going to write would be about Mormonism. As for the books, I would be told when the time came. Guess what? This Purpose channel is based from my 6th book. Within the week, one of my Christian brothers in the prison, a more mature believer who taught Bible studies to inmates, pulled me aside one morning and told me about the revelation the Lord had given to him for me during his prayer and fasting the previous day. Of course I trusted him, but having come out of Mormonism it was natural that I was skeptical. I'm always skeptical of prophetic words from other people. I don't discount them, not even a little, but I'm always aware of the potential the message might be skewed, misinterpreted, or simply not from God. Hey, Satan talks too, oftentimes masquerading as God, and he enjoys using the people closest to us. Back to the story, I had not told my friend about my previous Purpose prophetic dreams or the Mormon outreach book I was supposed to write. That morning, however, my friend spoke in great detail about the Mormon work I would do, and the extraordinary end result of my efforts. What he said not only matched the dream but even supplemented many new details. As for my initial skepticism, as soon as Mando began to relate to me what the Lord had said to him, the Spirit fell hard on me, sending major electrical shivers on my head and upper body. It felt as though someone was pouring a large bucket of electricity, fire, and ice on me with nearly every word Mando spoke, and this sensation lasted for at least 10 minutes. It took everything I had to remain standing. It wasn't until another month after the first Purpose dream that I was given a second dream. This time the dream spoke of 2 purpose works, but not in detail. Only that there would be 2 and they would seem completely unrelated. Just so you know, the first book I wrote is called Evidence, a candid examination of Mormon beliefs. This book was the beginning fulfillment of the first part of my purpose task. The second book I was led to write is called Throwaway Children. This book is the story of my orphan experience and 2 of my sisters at home. When God first told me about the Mormon task and the orphan task, I had no idea how the 2 things fit together. Today, I do. God wanted me to write on both subjects. Also, I finished the 2 books at the same time. That is no coincidence, and God used all my gifts to make this happen. I penned the manuscripts with my new talent for writing, which talent I didn't discover until God instructed me to start writing. My writing, which is 1 in 8 gift I was given, is how everything fits together. My writing is how I began to walk in my purpose. Christ also gave me the ministry gift of teacher, and that's almost all writing is, if one looks at it from outside, a form of teaching. I used my ministry gift of prophecy to include certain sections of the book, Evidence, prophetic words first given to me, which the Spirit was explicit I had to include in the book for other Mormons. God also used my spirit gifts of wisdom, encouragement, and a number of others to complete evidence. These gifts are not my purpose, but they have gone a long way to help me accomplish the work God has given me. Since I began to write, God has revealed more and more details of His plans for my life, one of which includes writing music and singing, since I had been faithful to the revelations He had already entrusted to me. Hearing and obeying is vital. If you hear and obey, God will always share more. Then Christ said to them, "Take heed what you hear. With the same measure you use, it will be measured to you, and to you who hear, more will be given. For whoever has, to him more will be given. But whoever does not have, even what he has, will be taken away from him." Mark 4:24-25. One crucial truth I've learned is God rarely tells people all the plans He has for them all at once. Usually He'll share a general concept of the purpose task to help people understand where God is taking them, and the details often come later, at intervals, as necessary. God does this to inform, to encourage, to test, and most importantly, to not overwhelm. Abraham is a great example of this. When God first spoke to Abraham and revealed Abraham's purpose, to be a father of a great nation, God did not tell Abraham everything right then. Genesis 12, verses 1-4. Only after Abraham left the land of Haran did God tell him where this promised land for the new nation would be located. Genesis 12, verses 5-7. Only after he left and sacrificed to God and paid tithes from the spoils of war did he learn he would produce a child from his own loins with his wife. Genesis 15, verses 1-6. If one reads the story of Abraham, from Genesis 12-25, it is evident that God will not only reveal the purpose in segments, but He will confirm the previous revelations over and over to encourage the recipient. This may not be the case for everyone. Apostle Paul is the perfect example of this, but I'm sure it is for most of us. It was for me at the very least. Since the initial purpose revelation, God has revealed much to me about where He is taking me and the success of it all. As for the extras, the secondary purpose tasks, I've been directed toward writing music and singing, and not long after started leading the prison praise and worship during various prison church services. Regarding this music ministry, God first gave me the word about it through another dream, years ago. A gift from Him for Christmas. I suppose this word might have come about 6 months after the first two about writing the books. I'd have to check my journal to be certain. There are so many things God was doing with my life, just in prison. Much more would happen after. However, it would take the rest of the book to detail everything I've experienced, and there are many other important things I need to share with you. Like the various ways in which God speaks.